Hey guys, I'm here in Africa filming some wildlife. Things have taken a turn for the worse. Got a meerkat on my head. This is interesting.
And this is my world now.
My name is Alan Lacey, and I'm a wildlife filmmaker, cameraman, and producer. Adventure with me as I explore the amazing world of nature and show you what it's like filming the wild.
I got no worries, got me, no. I got no problems I can see, no. I got this feeling over me like I got no worries, no. I got no worries, no.
At the beginning of our second week in Africa, we changed camps and began our 4-hour trip from Camp Meno A Kwena to Camp Kalahari right on the edge of the Kalahari salt pans. And as you can see here, we encountered a lot of the local wildlife on our way there.
Burned out like the 5th of July, I got my friends all calling me. Stressed out cause I realize I'm not the person I wanna be. Sold out of my
As we drove through the Kalahari, my mind kept thinking about all of the times I used to sit at home back in the States and dream about having the opportunity to film in Africa. And here I am, a week into a shoot doing exactly that.
I got no problems I can see, no.
About halfway to our new camp, our driver dropped us off at a place called Camp Baobab. We unloaded all of our gear and then met our new driver, loaded up all of our bags and gear before hitting the dirt road towards Camp Kalahari. We left our cameras out just in case we had an opportunity to film something while we were en route.
Back when we were kids, we did it our way.
As we drove to our next camp, the skies began to cloud up and it started to look like rain. So we ended up racing the storm back to Camp Kalahari.
Left through me a lemon tree, it's time to make some lemonade.
Now as we make our way there, I wanted to take a moment to talk about something that I'm extremely excited about, and that is the launch of my new Patreon channel. I absolutely love creating films like this and wanted to share even more behind the scenes clips from the field with you guys. Patreon allows me to do just that, and it gives you guys exclusive access to all of the crazy behind the scenes moments that are going to come up, sometimes even directly as they're happening. Patreon is a great way to stay connected with me and what I'm up to, and of course, it's a fantastic way to stay engaged in all of the conservation work that I'm doing. Now, making these films for YouTube takes a fair amount of work and energy, not only to get out and film, but then also to all the hours of just like sitting behind the desk and putting all these stories together for you guys and editing. Patreon allows me to devote more time and energy to this and all the resources, etc., into creating these films. And for you, it's basically the cost of just a coffee a month, like $3 or more if you prefer. It'd certainly be helpful. But it gives you direct access to even more behind the scenes moments and content. Heck, you could even have a virtual coffee with me on there, or suggest new ideas for films, or even review films before I release them to the public. I would love to see you join me and the family over there on my Filming the Wild family. So go check out the link in the description below, and let's make some incredible stories together over on Patreon.
Start early. Well, just make sure that your laptop's charged and you go there. And then,
As soon as we got to Camp Kalahari, the sky opened up and the rain poured down for quite a while, providing a relief from the unrelenting African sun. Want to let it roll for a few minutes so you can get some time-lapse kind of motion? Or?
One of the driest places on the planet. It's pouring down rain.
We decided to brave the weather and went out to capture a few scenics or a chance encounter with some of the wildlife before the storm completely passed, in hopes of filming something interesting with the dynamic light from the thunderstorm. I absolutely loved being in the middle of all the thunder and lightning out there in the African bush. It was truly an incredible moment. We arrived just at the beginning of the rainy season, which was a calculated move on our part. But the rain did make things a bit more tricky to navigate, although it was not impossible. The next morning we were up with the sun and headed out to film with some of the local bushmen. Seeing how they lived traditionally for thousands of years was truly an amazing experience. And it was great to see their reactions as they saw themselves on film as we played back the footage for them. Now, I can't disclose what the story we are filming here is all about, as I am under an NDA, but I can say that I have been here on location filming with my good friends Chris Fisher and Matt Meyer for a film the All Around Project is producing. Chris is a talented director and producer who founded the All Around Project, and Matt is a highly respected guide and naturalist and a producer on this program as well.
Good time for all.
Later in the day, we encountered another rainstorm. Only this time, we kind of got caught out in the elements and had to cover our cameras and equipment with rain flies, while we took the brunt of the rain ourselves. I was having the time of my life. The thrill of the storm, the possibility of getting stuck in the mud, all of that uncertainty was truly exhilarating.
Yeah, we're in a proper rainstorm.
But thank goodness for four-wheel drive. However, we finally got some of that dynamic contrasting light we were hoping for as a herd of springbok walked across the grasslands. Soon, we came upon a part of the Kalahari salt pan that still had some remaining water in it from the prior year, or perhaps from some of these recent storms. And a flock of flamingos were still there. These salt pans are a prime breeding ground for these birds, and later in the summer, as the storms fill the pans into vast shallow lakes, it turns into a perfect place for these flamingos to raise their young. They are such majestic birds to watch as they walk through the water. It was hard to keep the camera stabilized, however, as we had to keep our tripods inside the vehicle. So whenever somebody shifted in their seats or something else would move around, it would cause the image to shake. The evening resulted in one of the most spectacular sunsets I've ever seen.
Hey guys, I'm here in Africa filming some wildlife. Things have taken a turn for the worse. Got a meerkat on my head. This is interesting.
On this morning, we spent some time with a small, adorable meerkat family.
That's hilarious.
Now, these meerkats are used to being around people and are fairly famous for climbing up on top of photographers' heads, as when you get down on their level, you suddenly become the high point in the region, and therefore the best lookout post possible. This meerkat stayed up on my head for what felt like an eternity. But it was one of those good kind of eternity moments, one that I will always remember and cherish for the rest of my life. Meerkats are voracious hunters, constantly searching for small grubs, frogs, and insects, basically anything that they can get their hands on to eat. They spent most of the time that we were with them digging holes and making these absolutely adorable chirping sounds, which honestly do remind me of a cat trill. And then they would do more and more and more digging. They are actually really quite good at it. Meerkats live in family groups, with a dominant male and a dominant female, that lead the group in foraging and looking for new places in search for food. The rest of the family helps raise the new pups and takes care of the entire family. We had an absolute blast filming these small, cute little members of the mongoose family. I'm sure one of us actually probably started singing Hakuna Matata. Or maybe that was just me. Often after a long morning spent out filming in the intense African sun and heat, we would just simply be exhausted, so we would head back to camp. Day after day, with short hours of sleep, it all kind of catches up to you. So when the opportunities come along for a quick nap, you take them. That is, if you so dare. Even in camp, you can have some pretty incredible wildlife encounters. The entire time we stayed at Camp Kalahari, a couple of young bull elephants refused to leave the camp, even after repeated attempts to get them to leave, which kept us on our toes whenever walking between the lodge and our tents, especially at night. And on this day, The camp pool made a perfect place to get a drink and cool off for this cheeky elephant. Later in the day, we were back filming, and we happened upon this young cheetah cub, which was looking for its mother. You could see its distress as it kept searching and calling. But then its mother came out of the bush, and we knew it would all be okay. I've been keen on producing a film about cheetahs, so filming them in the wild for the first time was absolutely amazing. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you would enjoy seeing more content like this. And just to mention it again, if you'd like to stay connected to the projects I'm working on in the future, consider joining my Patreon family, where you will have exclusive access to even more behind-the-scenes moments. In the meantime, keep an eye out for the next episode of Filming the Wild.